Hi guys, thanks for joining me on another colour coaching episode. Today we're going to talk about how to choose the best interior colour scheme for a new build or renovation. Firstly, I would start with focusing on getting a direction for your interior. So working out what sort of style, what sort of colours you're wanting to work with, and getting sort of a feel of what you want. Maybe creating a mood board. They're really helpful in visualising an idea. So I would then start with choosing your kitchen and bathroom finishes. You would think that this would be later down the track, but I feel like they're really good to start nice and early because they have a limited selection of what you can sometimes choose from. And if you've already got your overall direction for the way you want your house to look, this will be a really good starting point as they are the center of the home. So I would start with finding out what sort of whites you want to use in your kitchen, or what colors you want to use in your kitchen and bathroom, and looking at tiles and things like that. Picking your cabinet color, working out whether you want to do 2-pack, laminate or vinyl wrap for your cabinetry. And then this will then dictate what sort of colour choices you have. With 2-pack, you can pretty much choose any Dulux colour, whereas the laminate and vinyl wrap are only in selected colours. So from here then, you might want to match, if you're doing a white kitchen for instance, which you definitely don't have to do, there's so many awesome kitchen colours around, but if you are doing a white kitchen, I would often match the white that you're doing on your kitchen roughly with the white you choose for your doors and trim in the house. With flooring, I feel like it's a lot to do with practicality. So if you want to put in a hardwood real floor, real timber floor, solid timber floor, then you might have to think, you've just got to consider the fact that you will have to recoat it every few, probably every 5 to 10 years, depending how much wear it gets. Whether when you're using a vinyl, you are like a vinyl plank, they're amazing, they're so durable and they last for ages. And these are really, really good if you've got pets or kids, because they're pretty much indestructible. And then you've got the option of laminate too, so, and also engineered timbers. So there's heaps around, so just have a look. A lot of colours can go with, a lot of flooring is quite neutral, and a lot of people are using timber throughout, or a timber look floor, just because it gives you, especially in Melbourne, it gives you a very warm feeling. It's nice under your feet. And it connects with the environment we have around us a lot more. Whereas tiles you can definitely use, but you've just got to be careful with how you dress then when using tiles. So your styling, you need to warm up the spaces a lot more and put a lot more effort into that. My tip for choosing carpets would be to choose a mid-tone colour. So don't go too dark and don't go too light. And talking to a professional carpet supplier about your flooring selections, so they can tell you the differences between all the blends and the wool carpets and all the different weaves. Make sure you let them know if you have pets as well and what sort of areas you're using them on. So my favourite place is Wall to Wall in Ringwood. They're wonderful. Tony or Tom would be able to help you out in there. Often in a modern build, we use the same wall colour throughout the whole house and the same ceiling and trim colour throughout the whole house. We keep it nice and neutral. Often either clients really like a idea of going a white, or they'll go on the walls, or they'll go a beigey sort of colour or a grey. So just keeping it really neutral so it can work with every bit of furniture and anything you want to put in the space. I tend to like doing slightly darker tones or shades in the master bedroom and study. These can add a little bit of colour, a little bit of depth, and break up the spaces and the colours and make these spaces a little bit more cosy and make you feel different when you walk into the space. So in a modern house, often the builds now have square set ceilings, which is no cornices, or really simple architraves around the doors and trim. So this creates a really clean modern look and shows off the architecture more than the actual creating those features. So with these builds, we usually do a colour on the wall and ceiling to be the same, if you're doing a white, and even the architraves and doors to be the same as the walls, just so it all creates this clean, empty kind of shell to be able to put whatever decorations and furniture pieces in that you want. If you have a modern build with square set ceilings but you're wanting to use a grey or a beige or a stony sort of colour on your walls, then I would normally recommend going a white on your trim and doors, and then a slightly different colour on the walls, a darker colour, and then always keep your ceiling in ceiling white or the same white as your trim. I always recommend going a low sheen finish on your walls, paint finish. This is a really popular finish as it's really washable and durable, and it also isn't too shiny to show up every imperfection in your plasterwork. So then I would always do a flat on your ceiling and corners, so flat ceiling paint goes on the ceiling and the corners, and then the trims, so around the window, your architrave, skirting boards, doors, would all be the same product. So usually using a type of enamel, either a semi-gloss or gloss. I recommend water-based. So a water-based semi-gloss enamel is my most popular finish I use. And this is, that gives you a really hard wearing finish. It won't yellow over time like an oil-based will. And it will dry a lot quicker for you and be a little bit easier to touch up in the future. So this is why I like using water-based. Some painters don't like using water-based, so make sure you check with your painter before you start, and communicate with them of what finish you're wanting and what type of paint you're wanting as well. As a colour consultant, I always write up a colour schedule for my clients where I specify where each colour is going in the house and what finish it will be as well, so what paint finish it will be. So this is really important in communicating to your painter or your builder what finishes and what colours you're using. And then it stops any sort of miscommunication, and you can do this with kitchens and bathrooms as well. So you can literally specify what tile you're using, how you want it laid, and what grout you're using, and have it all written down there so the builder can have a look at it and in one glance know what you're doing. And also there's no miscommunications, which is great. It's always important with a build. So usually the painters actually include your paint in their quote. So they are the ones that go and buy the paint. So that's why it's important to have all this stuff written down, so then they can just go in with their list and know exactly what they're getting, and works out better for you as well. So yeah, make sure you specify what paint you want as well, like what brand. Often some painters, depending, can actually use more of a trade product which isn't as washable on your walls. So I would highly recommend even just specifying like Dulux wash and wear for your walls, which means that it will be very good quality, a premium product, and it's going to be nice and washable and long lasting for you. Also, just a little tip, when you've moved in, just maybe take your time to do your decorating and furnishing. I know you'd want to just do it all in one go and go out and buy things before you've even moved in, but it's really important to get a sense of the space and really live in it for a little bit. So I would recommend visiting the Inspirations paint shops in Nunawading, Surrey Hills and Eltham. Everyone in there is so helpful, and they can tell you exactly what you need to use for your project, and give you advice on your build or renovation too. So it's very helpful. And make sure you get sample pots. That is my #1 tip for interior colours. Sample pots. So important, because the colours look so different in every room, and it's really important to be able to try out a nice big patch on the walls and make sure you've got it all right before you start with the painting. All the best for your projects, guys. It's so exciting to go through a renovation or build, although it may not seem like it at the time. So good luck with your projects. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me a question in the comments below, or just email me. And I'll see you next time for another colour coaching video.